What's up, guys? I wanted to start off today by saying thank you to all the new subscribers, the new viewers that are out there. When I woke up yesterday morning, the numbers on the channel were through the roof from where they normally are. And I appreciate the support. It does not go unnoticed. So let's get to it today. Before this week, it had been pretty quiet in Houston. I mentioned this the other day. After an offseason where the Texans were seemingly making news every other day, it felt like, for all the wrong reasons, it had been relatively quiet since the draft. That is, until this week. Earlier this week, we talked about on here about Deshaun Watson and his potential contract extension, his upcoming contract extension. If you want, you can check out that video in the archives on YouTube. But now, J.J. Watt is making headlines. J.J. Watt used to be one of the best defensive ends in the league. Maybe the best defensive end in the league. From 2011 to 2015, this dude was unstoppable. He was a force defensively. 3-time Defensive Player of the Year. He and Lawrence Taylor are the only two to have won that award 3 times. He was a Pro Bowler damn near every year during that stretch. But the past 4 years, though, J.J. Watt's been irrelevant. I hate to say that about a player of his caliber, but it's the fucking truth. J.J. Watt has been irrelevant for much of the last 4 years. He's played one 16-game season since 2015. To be honest, he's not the same player that he was 5 years ago. People kind of forget how dominant J.J. Watt used to be. From 2012 to 2015, J.J. Watt had 69 sacks, led the NFL 3 of those 4 years in sacks. Since then, he's had 21 and a half. Only managed 26 tackles for loss the past 4 years, when he used to average 30 a year in his prime. And I say in his prime, because at 31 years old, J.J. Watt is well past his prime. And it's not due to his age. Cam Jordan in New Orleans is 30 years old. And right now he's in the prime of his career, playing some of the best football of his life. But the difference between J.J. Watt and Cam Jordan has been durable. He's always on the field. It does not matter how dominant you are. If you can't get on the field, you're useless. You can't do shit standing on the sidelines. The last 4 years, J.J. Watt has spent the majority of his time on the sideline. 2016, 3 games. 2017, 5 games. Last year, 8 games. It was an improvement. 2018, he played the whole season. I bring all of this up because I think we are reaching a point where J.J. Watt and the Houston Texans could be parting ways in the near future. Now, I'm not saying that it's going to happen this year. I think the Texans are going to keep him around this season because they believe that they have a legitimate shot at winning the Super Bowl. Now, no one else believes that, but I think that Bill O'Brien and the Houston Texans believe it 100%. But I do feel like 2020 could be the last year that J.J. Watt wears a Houston Texans uniform. He's got 2 years left on his contract. I get it. This year, he's going to make $15.5 million. 2021, it's $17.5 million. But all of the guaranteed money in his contract has been paid out, which means that the Texans can cut him anytime they want. And I think that's eventually going to happen. And I think J.J. Watt knows it. The Texans this offseason made Laramie Tunsil the highest paid offensive lineman in the NFL. J.J. Watt was asked about that and whether or not he's looking for more money along with a contract extension. This is what J.J. Watt had to say about it. Quote, "No, I don't think that's necessary. I think that I fully understand and respect the situation that I'm in and what has happened the past few years. So I'm not going to sit here and demand anything. I think if I went back and asked for an extension or more money right now, I think that would be the wrong move," end quote. All right, couple of things here about what J.J. Watt said. Number one, J.J. Watt knows that he doesn't have a leg to stand on. He has absolutely zero leverage when it comes to negotiating a new contract with the Texans. The Houston Texans aren't going to give him DeMarcus Lawrence type money, which is about $21 million a year, all because J.J. Watt was a great player 5, 6, 7 years ago. At the end of the day, no matter how much the Texans like J.J. Watt, the NFL is a business. They don't pay off of past performance. They pay you off of what they think you're going to be able to contribute going forward. Judging by the past 4 years, no one fucking knows if J.J. Watt's going to be able to contribute or not. At least 100% of the season anyway. And second, whether it happens this year or next year, the Houston Texans are going to have to pay Deshaun Watson. I mean, that is a given. Now, I mentioned in my video the other day that I think it would be a mistake for Deshaun Watson to stay in Houston. But that's beside the point. The fact of the matter is, if the Texans want to keep him, and they do, he's the first franchise quarterback that this franchise has ever had. If they want to keep him, they are going to have to pay him. The reports going around is that the Texans are looking to pay Deshaun Watson $40 million a year. Now, that's a bit of a problem when you consider that they have no fucking money. Right now, the Texans are $3 million over the salary cap for the 2020 season. Now, with Watson's deal not taking effect until 2022, if it happens, that's not an immediate problem in Houston. The problem is, over the last couple of months, actually the last couple of years, Bill O'Brien has made some bad decisions leading up to this Deshaun Watson contract. Overpaying Laramie Tunsil, the Brandon Cooks deal, Randall Cobb. These guys, who God knows if they'll have any effect helping the Texans win games, are eating up a big piece of the Texans salary cap. Now, guess who Houston could cut to solve a little bit of that money problem? J.J. Watt. And it would be simple for the Texans to do it. Real easy. Houston's already paid out the $52 million that is guaranteed in his contract. They could release him tomorrow and take no dead cap hit. Free up $33 million over the next 2 years. Now, would it be a major PR hit for the Texans if they cut J.J. Watt? Of course it would. The guy is a legend in Houston. But it's happened with the Texans before where they have cut these legendary players. Andre Johnson spent 12 years in Houston. Ended his career in Tennessee. Dwayne Brown was there for 9 years. He's now in Seattle. Hell, DeAndre Hopkins stated in the past that he wanted to end his career with the Texans. Now, we see how that worked out. They shipped his ass to Arizona, got nothing in return for him. All because he asked for more money. Honestly, if you're J.J. Watt, at 31 years old, coming off of multiple injuries, you've accomplished all you can accomplish in terms of individual accolades. Do you really want to finish your career in Houston? An organization that for 20 years has mostly been a failure? Even in the 9 or so years that you've been there, Houston's really never won anything, never made it to an AFC championship game. They normally get blown out in the playoffs every year. The one thing that J.J. Watt is lacking is a Super Bowl ring. And the Texans are not winning one anytime soon. Hell, as long as Bill O'Brien is the head coach, the Texans will not be winning a Super Bowl. I know J.J. Watt has no leverage in negotiating a contract extension right now, but I'm not entirely sure that he wants one. Not in Houston anyway. I watched a clip of an interesting interview earlier today with J.J. Watt. In the interview, he was asked about the Texans offseason. With all the controversial moves that have happened, DeAndre Hopkins being traded, the guy interviewing J.J. Watt asked him, what makes Bill O'Brien a great coach? There was about 5 seconds of silence after the question. It was that kind of silence, and with the expression on J.J. Watt's face, it said it all. Where someone puts you on the spot and asks you a question, And you know you can't really give an honest answer to the question. So you make up some real nice bullshit, some nice fluff. J.J. Watt basically said that it's Bill O'Brien's job to lead this team. And his role as a general manager is to build the organization. That's his role, and that's obviously what he excels at. There were no compliments given. He gave about a 15 to 20 second reply full of nonsensical garbage and quickly changed the subject. And I would expect nothing less from J.J. Watt. He is a respectable, class act type of dude. Not the kind of guy that is going to throw his head coach under the bus. So I wouldn't expect anything less from him. But let me ask you something. When Drew Brees is asked about Sean Payton, does he give that type of answer? Remember when Bountygate happened back in 2012? Every week it seemed like Drew Brees talked about how much he missed Sean Payton, how much he missed him in practice, and the week of preparation leading up to the games. We got none of that from J.J. Watt. He didn't compliment Bill O'Brien on his coaching style. He didn't compliment on what he's done as general manager. He gave a nice, almost PR media answer. Look, J.J. Watt doesn't know how much time he has left to give to the NFL. In all likelihood, he has signed his one and only big money contract that he's going to get. I don't think he will see the end of the current contract in Houston either. And honestly, at this point, there's no reason for him to stay in Houston if they're not a Super Bowl caliber team. And they're not. He needs to go chase a ring. We have seen star NFL players do this before. James Harrison left Pittsburgh to go chase a ring with New England. Tony Gonzalez, who was a staple in Kansas City, he was basically the franchise for years. Towards the end of his career, he left Kansas City to go to try to win a Super Bowl with Atlanta. J.J. Watt has made his money. He's got a lucrative television career waiting on him once he retires. He is in a position now where he can take less money to join a contender. I, for one, would welcome J.J. Watt with open arms if he wanted to come to New Orleans and join the Saints. But the point is, the only thing that he lacks in his legendary NFL career is a Super Bowl ring. And he's not going to get it in Houston. All right, that's all for today. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button for me. Click the notification bell to receive all notifications from the channel. Appreciate all you guys the past few days that have been doing that. It goes a long way in supporting the channel. Really appreciate it. Leave me a comment in the section below. What do you think about J.J. Watt? Do you think that he will retire as a Houston Texan? Or do you think that the Texans are going to eventually cut him? Should he go somewhere else and join a contender to win a Super Bowl? Let me know your thoughts. You can follow me on Twitter at KC_BTL84. If you have any questions for me, you can email them to BTLKC84@gmail.com. I will see you guys next time.